Choosing a Pokemon starter in any game is always the most difficult and exciting choice for Pokemon fans. Do you choose your favorite, or do we go for the strongest option? And with each generation of Pokemon, there's always a huge debate on what is the strongest starter to choose. And for each game that answer will be different. So I want to answer that same question for Pokemon TCG Pocket. Pocket has all of Gen 1 starters, and they all have their own unique mechanics to make use of. The first being Venusaur, which has high HP and the ability to heal itself with its attack. Next we have fan favorite Charizard with huge attacking potential but high energy cost. And last we have Blastoise, who's maybe the least meta of them all but has decent potential. And I know Greninja exists, but we're ignoring it for this video. So in order to determine the best starter in Pocket, I decided to put all starters in the same deck and see who does the most damage. Or perhaps they might work well together, who knows. So let's have a look at this deck, what I call Starter Squad. Let me know in the comments if you know the reference. For this deck, I've added one line of regular Venusaur, one line of regular Charizard, and one complete line of regular Blastoise. I've decided to go with the regular versions in order to give every starter a chance in the battle, as the opponent will need to knock out all three to win. This deck is a triple energy deck, so I've added the following supporters and items to help the starters in the battle. Sabrina to help in positioning, Giovanni for extra damage. I know Misty may seem as an unfair pick, but Blastoise deserves some love. And then some standard items as you would expect. I then decided to play 20 battles and then tally the damage of each starter to determine who is the strongest. And like always, I do these challenges in the random versus mode. So let's see how it went. So let's dive straight in the first battle. And in this battle, my first starter will be Charmander. So I place it down, but I do notice I get some grass energies in the next turns. But let's see how this plays out. So we use a Pokeball to give us a Squirtle, and then also when using Oak, we get our last starter. So this is a great start, because now I have all three starters ready to go, and I can choose which one to focus on. When we're looking at my opponent's turn, they place a lot of cards down, they have a Ratini there, so when the Dragonite gets up and running, it will be a tricky spot for me. But when I get more grass energy, I decide to focus on Ivysaur, Bulbasaur, Venusaur because I had all the cards in my hand. But when using another Oak, I also get Wartortle, so I have two options to go for in the end. But they get Dragonair and they get Pidgeotto, so they are doing quite well as well. I do get a Blastoise, so I'm able to fully evolve my Ivysaur to a Venusaur, but also my Wartortle to a Blastoise. So this is a great start. I was not expecting to do that well, but my opponent has Dragonite there and he can attack next turn. So depending on where the damage of the Dragonite goes with Draco Meteor is where I go for. And he completely knocked out my Charmander and my Blastoise, which is perfect for me, because that means my Venusaur is still up and running. So I place it down in the active spot, and then next turn I can start attacking. So I add the grass energy, I use Giovanni as well for a little bit extra damage, and Venusaur's first on the board with 90 damage. But of course, Dragonite knocks me out next turn, so that's the end of game 1. But Venusaur did well. 90 damage on the board. Let's go into game 2. So game 2 went very differently. In this game I started with a Squirtle and I had two Oaks in my hand, which I decided to use of course. This gave me a Blastoise and a Charizard. Again, these are two late evolution cards that I can't use right now. And this is something that we'll see more often happening because it is quite tricky with a triple evolution deck with 3 different lines and only one of each. It's quite tricky to get all the right cards. But I managed to attack with Squirtle, giving it 20 damage from the Blastoise. Then I can attack again next turn. I still have the evolution cards I can't use. But I decide actually to sacrifice my Charmander in hopes I can get Wartortle to do a little bit more damage, to give Blastoise this little edge that it needs. So exactly what I did. Now I get a Charmeleon, which is very sad, but I use Giovanni and then just attack with Squirtle as I don't get Wartortle. And now Blastoise is on 50 damage and of course Kudo knocks me out. So 2 games in, quite tricky as you can see. Let's go into game 3. So game 3, I'm playing against a Zapdos deck and I'm already struggling enough as it is, but he has 2 Zapdoses and a Voltorb ready, and I start with a Bulbasaur, but I get Water Energy. I have Charmeleon in my hand, Charizard in my hand, I have a Bulbasaur, I get an Ivysaur, but I get Water Energies. This is the most annoying part of this deck. As you can see, I'm not getting the right energies that I need at all, and basically insta lose this game. But it happens, it's part of this game, and well, game 4 didn't go that much different either, to be honest. I had all the starters this time. I managed to evolve Bulbasaur to Ivysaur, but in that time I managed to get enough energy on one of my cards. I get a lot of fire energy as you can see, because they have a Dratini ready to go. I have a Venusaur luckily, but all my energy is mostly fire, and I only have a Charmander. So even though I have a fully evolved Blastoise, a fully evolved Venusaur, I can't do anything. But I have a Misty card, and I tried to use it, but no, my Misty luck is horrible, so Blastoise basically can't do anything, and Draco Meteor knocks out my Charmander. Blastoise is just stuck there, and now I get a Charmeleon, which is very late, and I decide to concede the game. So then we go into game 5, and I'm hoping for some kind of luck to at least make my Pokemon do a little bit more damage, right? So this game I start with a Squirtle, I get the wrong energies, and I basically insta-lose because Pidgeot is too strong. So then we go into game 6. I know we don't have the best streak as of now, but we finally get to do some damage again with Squirtle. First doing 20, then Wartortle doing 40, and that's the end of the game. So then we go to the next game, where I am struggling against a Farfetch'd. And now you can really see how difficult this deck is. Squirtle's doing well, but Charizard hasn't even attacked yet at all. But then we go into game 8. In this case, I have a good start. I get a Venusaur up and running, and I get a Charizard up and running, but my energies are water. Again, this is so tricky with this deck. Zapdos is doing incredibly well. It's able to do huge damage against my Venusaur, knocking it out. I then get a Squirtle finally, so finally get some use out of water energies, but by the time it's already quite late. Zapdos knocks out my Charizard. I do get a Wartortle, so I'm able to at least do an extra 40 damage. This brings Blast up to 190. But I get lucky, because Zapdos misses and I get another attack off, so now Blast is at 230. And now it does knock me out. But again, Charizard hasn't done damage yet, Venusaur stuck at 90, Blastoise is leading the pack with 230 damage. So then we go into game 9, and I have a good start, I have all starters, and I can use Misty, and I get 2 heads, meaning Squirtle is off again to a great start. And I can use Water Gun against the Substriker, but the issue with Substriker is it can knock it out from the bench, so I had to sacrifice it. But I finally get Venusaur up and running again. Using Giovanni, I'm able to do 90 damage and I can heal myself. So this is huge, because now Venusaur can continuously deal damage and can knock out another Pokemon as well, getting another 80 damage on the board. But now we have the same problem again as in last game. Zapdos is back and can attack again, which it does. It knocks out my Venusaur, but now I have a chance with Charmander to do 30 damage, so now Charizard is finally on the board as well, just much lower than the rest. So let's go into game 10. This is the halfway point. I get all starters in my hand, which is great, so I have to make a choice. And I get varied energies, but a lot of fire energy. So this is the redemption arc of Charizard. I get a lot of fire energy, meaning it's finally time for Charmander to do something. And the Mewtwo knocks out my Venusaur, the Gengar knocks out my Blastoise, and now I have a Charmeleon up and running and ready to do some damage, and even evolve to a Charizard. And I can do Fire Spin, finally. Able to do 150 damage, but I just can't attack again because it uses 2 energy. So then we go into the next game, and again, Charmeleon is doing great, another 60 damage on the board. And then I lose to Squirtle themselves. But you can see, at least Charizard is back in the game. We're equal now in damage. Venusaur, Charizard, Blastoise, all by 10 damage, they're differing from each other. And in the game afterwards, I decided to put my Charmander in and get an early KO as well. And now Charizard takes the lead in the leaderboard. And then we find a Pinsir that actually does know how to attack, unlike Goofy's Pinsir. And they knock out my Pokemon, and basically I can attack still with Squirtle, doing a little bit more damage, but that's the end of it. So now we're into game 13, and now we're getting very far in, and it's looking a bit dim, because I also want to win a game, right? I'm not winning anything. But as of now, I can still do a little bit more damage with Charmander and do like a little bit of damage with Squirtles. But I need something big, I need to win a game, that's the whole goal of this video as well. And my opponent has an Executor and Venusaur, it's very tricky to win this one. But I get some little chippies with Squirtle, bringing it to 290 damage. But then we go to game 14. And here again, I have a great start. I have all starters, I can do some damage with Charmander, but that's about it. I'm lacking this edge of getting some mons up running, getting the right energies, getting the right evolutions. All the stars need to align in order for me to win. And of course, there's little damages that I can do. I mean, you can stack all starters in this game, which is great. But I want to win something. And now we're into game 16. And here my luck changed a little bit. I have to sacrifice Charmander in this game, but that means Bulbasaur can attack and they have a grass weakness. So I can do 60 damage, but sadly Marowak hits and now I have to rely on Blastoise. But they put in Kabutops and I use Misty, and finally I have some use out of Misty. and I'm able to do a huge 140 damage against the Kabutops. And this is what I needed. Now I have a chance to win this game because they put a Marowak. But it misses, meaning I can now knock it out and win my first game. But they concede. So I still added the damage to Blastoise, but this was also very unsatisfying, similar to my last video with this. I want to win properly, I don't want to win based on the concede. So we go into another game, and here I'm playing against a very strange deck as well. They have a mix of a fire lightning deck, but they're not getting the right energies. They're stuck with fire, but most of the mons are lightning. So I can attack a lot with my Ivysaur. I'm able to do 60 damage twice. Now I have a Venusaur, able to Mega Drain, get another 80 damage on the board. And do it again, which is great about Venusaur. And now Venusaur has taken the lead. So I can do one last attack on the Flareon before Flareon can knock out my Venusaur. But again, they concede. And this is so annoying that they keep conceding just before I can do the final attack. So now we go into game 18. And again, I have a great start with Misty, and I can do some early damage with Wartortle. I'm able to do 40 damage twice in a row, 3 times in a row, 4 times in a row, 5 times in a row even, but then they gave up again. So this is very frustrating, and I'm hoping that game 19 can finally change something. Blastoise is in the lead, Venusaur is a close second, Charizard is very far apart, but this game, again, I have a good start with my Blastoise, and I'm able to knock out and get an early point. And I'm just praying they don't concede again. I finally have a good start again, I need to win. So I used Giovanni, perfect timing to knock out Bruxish as well, and now Blastoise has beat the 1000 damage mark, taking a huge lead over Venusaur. And I can actually win the game because Charmeleon can finish it off, and I actually properly won my game, which is super surprising with this deck that I'm using. And then we go into the last game, and this was an insane game. So I have a good start. I have 2 starters ready. I get my third one as well and evolve to Ivysaur. They use Misty, but luckily they fail, which is also great. And I can start attacking. And this is basically a huge upset because I get Venusaur and they have a lot of heals, meaning this battle can take a long time. Because they have a Butterfree, they have another Butterfree potentially in the back in the future. But I can just start attacking with Venusaur's Mega Drain, which can also heal itself. So I use Giovanni to get more damage in, and now Venusaur is closely behind Blastoise. And can Venusaur win this? Can it become the strongest Pokemon there is? And they keep healing, but I can do another attack and basically overtake Blastoise in the last game. But can I also win this game? Because that's also the last important point, right? Because they have a lot of heals, they have a Greninja now up and running. But I am struggling a lot. They have a lot of heals, as I mentioned. They have another Butterfree now. I keep attacking, I keep putting on pressure, I keep doing what I can, hoping that I can win this and clutch it out. And luckily, they make a slight mistake. Even though I have a potion here, they can attack again with Greninja. They can damage it again. They put it on the bench and they put in Butterfree. And after my attack here, they leave Butterfree in after the heals. Meaning my Blastoise can get that last crucial water energy. It was waiting on the bench for so long, it's turned 27 now. And it's able to clutch it out and do the last 80 damage. It doesn't overtake Venusaur, but it does give me another win. So in these 20 games, I managed to properly win 2 games. And then through concedes win a few others, but this was very fun to do, and Venusaur is the best one. Venusaur with huge attacking potential, high HP, also resisting all attacks from other opponents, it can clutch it out and won. And it is by far the best starter in Pokemon TCG Pocket. Of course, this is very skewed, it couldn't have done it without the other 2 starters. I mean, Blastoise came a close second, it did super well, did a lot of damage and also helped me win a lot of games, and Charizard was there for fun, but it requires high energy cost, right? Of course, this game mode isn't fair. But I hope you guys at least enjoyed, and thank you guys for watching, and please leave a like or subscribe if you can, because I'm close to reaching 1000 subs and I would love to reach it before the end of the year. But for now, stay tuned, soon will be new pack launching, so I'll hopefully do some content on that. Thanks and see ya!